This is Hazelwood. Hazelwood has been affected, like many other Pittsburgh neighborhoods, by the economic loss of the steel industry, but Hazelwood remains determined to bounce back. Meet Diane, owner and founder of the local Dylamatos market right at the end of 2nd Avenue here in Hazelwood. We talked to Diane to learn a little bit more about her and how she is bringing localized food access back to Hazelwood. Hazelwood has been considered a food desert for years, and I know you're probably wondering what that is. I'll have Diane, who's much smarter than I am, explain.
So if you have a certain percentage of your income below a certain, like 100% of the poverty rate or something like that, and you don't have a large grocery store, so it's the combination between low income and that access to a large grocery store. So I don't qualify as a large grocery store. So my being here doesn't affect the designation of Hazelwood being a food desert.
Hazelwood has not seen a major grocery store or supermarket since the closing of the long-lived The Imperios, which closed due to a number of robberies and lack of involvement from the city. Diane talks about her studies at Chatham and how that affected her choice to bring her business to Hazelwood.
Chatham was offering the Master's in Food Studies program, and I really liked the literature. It was a good program. It's a good program. I'm really glad I did it. It teaches you a lot about the whole food system, and then it teaches you about like retail food and farming and regulations, and then just food culture. And so for me, I knew Hazelwood was here, and then we had to do a project in a community, and I came back to Hazelwood because I knew they didn't have a grocery store. The grocery store had just closed.
Closing of the Imperios has had a major impact on the local economy and on its residents. Diane goes on to talk about particularly how residents get their food and why it's so important for a market like hers to exist for local residents.
I actually did a paper on food ways in a community like this. And what you find out is that people who have limited resources to spend on food, they shop primarily at the big suburban grocery stores. So people will end up going and shopping twice a month or once a month for all their basics, and then they'll come here for the other little things. So they'll go there and buy their big trays of meat, they'll go home, they'll divide it out, freeze it in packs, and they're set for the month. Like she just told me she went to 4 different stores to get all the things that she needed at the right prices for whatever plan. She has a plan for dinner, but she buys in bulk. And that's what she just said. She went to 4 different stores to buy in bulk, and she just forgot her tomatoes and onion. So I'm here, so she comes in to get tomatoes and onion, but she didn't come in here to do her whole shopping.
Diane goes on to discuss the importance of bringing quality food access back to Hazelwood and how it can build community in the process, and some of its challenges.
Let's go back to the $50 a week for food. So if every person in Hazelwood, there's about 4,500 to 5,000 people in Hazelwood. If everybody in Hazelwood spends $50 a week to eat, man, woman, child, it's over $13 million gets spent in Hazelwood on food every year. So that's all that money, almost all that money now is being spent outside the community. So that's an economy that isn't, it's there. The challenge is just how do we tap into it? It's gonna get spent. People have to spend that money, they have to eat. So that's realizing that that money was there and it was churning, is to say, how do you tap into that in a way that benefits the community?
As a board member of the Hazelwood Initiative, I talked to Diane to discuss her thoughts coming into the community and what she ultimately wants to see in the area.
People in this community, their response was, when you come into a place like Hazelwood, there are people here who have dreams, and there are people here who know how to do things. We may not have the resources to make it happen, but don't assume that we don't have dreams and that we don't have resources. If you come in and say, what are your dreams? What are your resources? What are the things that you want to do? Rather than coming in and saying, oh, we perceive this and this is our solution.
Next time, we'll talk with the people at 412 Food Rescue, a food delivery service changing the landscape of food access, and Community Kitchen, a food catering company who's planning to build a new location along the large Almano renovation site, to talk with them how they hope to address local food access and ultimately what they hope Hazelwood's future will be.